Um, oh,
Hi, David.
morning, Bill.
How are you doing?
A little overwhelmed, but otherwise all right.
We're overwhelmed.
Well, um, being the caregiver for Jane with her surgery, and our son
Yes.
Zach showed up 3 days ago, and
Oh,
I, um, I'm, I'm no longer 60 even. I, I run into these places where I just can't do things.
Yes, I, I'm behind you, but I do find it need to do more things to be able to do things not as well as I used to do
Yeah, yeah. And I have both a workman coming to paint a wall and an electrician arriving right after class.
Oh my. So,
And
oh,
had to
that's
get
good.
our son to the airport this morning, and Jane, who is only marginally driving, ended up having to go and bring the car back home.
Oh no.
Oh dear.
Well, the
Well,
guy who was supposed to take him to the airport had to deal with his mother in the hospital, and
Um,
the driver that we might have had wasn't available, and so anyway, my
everybody's
if I seem a bit distracted this morning,
in the right place. No, no.
right? Um, Carol, do you have any report on Joanne and Rick?
well, she did send the email about the invitation that he was in the hospital,
Yeah,
and she needed to be there today to to um to to see the doctors. So
ah, yeah. I guess I did see that one. I wondered if there was something since
yeah,
then.
haven't heard anything since then.
Yeah.
I would expect they're still waiting for the doctors to show up, or else
Yes, right.
they missed
Right.
them when they showed up at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah. You said something about surgery for an infection or
No, he was scheduled for surgery to take off a mole, I think it's a mole on his head somewhere, which they're thinking is melanoma. So that was scheduled for two Mondays ago, and he got an urinary infection before that. They spent a
Yeah.
day at the a day and a night at the ER, and they finally sent him home with some antibiotics and a catheter, and
Yeah.
well, so but um, he he they didn't do the surgery that Monday. He was scheduled
Yeah.
for this Monday, but on Sunday he had 104 fever,
Ah,
and so he's back in the hospital. She didn't say if he was still hanging in the waiting in the ER or if they actually got him a bed, but I would assume they're pumping antibiotics into him.
poor Rick
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
and Joanne.
Yes.
Uh,
They do have lots of family around, so that
yeah, they
they've
do,
got
which is
they've got
good.
support system there.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, so I think it's just you guys this morning, and so let's.
How is Adam doing? Speaking of,
Actually, I've had exchanged a couple of texts with Adam over the last week. He's doing well, extremely busy at the hospital, but still trying to follow along with the videos. So he is still participating as much as possible, even though we don't see him. But he sounded good in the text, I would say. So
good.
that's my most recent connection. I guess I don't have any any other news.
Well, that's fine. Thank you.
Sure, no. Thank you for asking. So, do you arrive with any questions? Comments? How's your practice going? Are you practicing?
Yes, I practiced, did do practicing. I didn't do as many consecutive days as I would have liked to have done. But the
I
practicing is focused. It's still interesting to me to change foci as I practice, and just to get lost in the practice sometimes too.
What does get lost mean?
Get lost means not being as intentional
Mm-hmm.
and having it happen.
Yeah. Not not
It's
staying
more,
present.
yeah, staying present, but not in a attention to detail way. Yeah, I'm not wandering off someplace else, but
Ah.
yeah.
Uh-huh. Carol?
I've been having a harder time not wandering off someplace else. So,
Do you have any idea why that is?
well, there are a lot of someplace else's to wander off to right now.
But isn't that always true?
Sometimes more than others. John has been tentatively diagnosed with Lewy bodies dementia, which is a really scary one,
Oh.
and we're not believing it. But the scary part of it is one of the facets of it is hallucinations, vivid hallucinations, and losing the dream inhibition that keeps you from moving during REM sleep.
Uh-huh.
He hasn't shown any signs of that, but if he does indeed have this, then that may be coming. So it's
Uh,
Yeah.
more scary and
Distracting.
distract. Yes, I could say that.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Well, yeah, we're not convinced that this
Yeah.
doctor's got it right, but
Yeah, but it's something to watch out for.
yeah.
Yeah. Mr. Nagel?
Hello.
Well, you're here.
Yes, I have been practicing much the same as Bill, though. I think. Well, I shouldn't, yeah, speak for Bill, but um,
You do speak for
not
Bill.
not bothering so much about oh the couple dozen things that we have to bother about if we put our minds to it and just try to get to a simple core somehow. Um, and let the energy, let me feel the energy moving and, not bother so much about, uh, as I say, all the other things. I do go in streaks or cycles or whatever you want to call them, where I do pay attention to opening, closing, cavities, twisting, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then I go into one of these where I don't want to pay so much attention to all of those other things deliberately,
Mm-hmm.
and just let it happen for a bit, which
That's,
is where I am.
which is a good thing, actually. Um, I think we've talked about this, but I just mention it, that getting prepared to do this practice is sometimes perhaps more important than the practice itself or the movements themselves. In other words, just taking that time to really let yourself just stand and hopefully let go of as much of the distractions as possible and become very, very quiet and very still, so that you begin from that point. And sometimes, certainly I have found that that really helps me let go of what's going on around me, so that when I do go into a practice, I'm practicing. I'm present with what I'm doing. I'm not dealing with other things. Or and it depends what you're doing too, and what your practice is for that day. Maybe it's only a flow. Maybe that's all you can do, or maybe it's focusing on one movement and trying to understand what's going on there in specifics. I mean, there are all these parts of what we do, but if we cannot bring ourselves into a being very present and very centered and very aware of what's happening inside us, the practice doesn't benefit us as much as it might. So taking that time, one of the things that I like to do sometimes for that is to simply stand and become as still as possible, and then to just feel opening and closing in my body, whether there's any movement or not. That really, somehow that really allows me to sink into myself and to let go of, am I twisting, am I extending, am I doing all the parts? So in a way, you have to kind of find what will help you be able to do that. So I would like you to do a flow, and I want you to try to be aware of any place that you're uncertain about what you're doing. Maybe you don't feel you are uncertain, or maybe you're not. But just
7.
7, okay? That's fine. But really feel that in there, and try to be as able as possible to ask about what you don't understand or don't feel, in at whatever point in the form. Okay?
Yeah.
And start with how was the overall flow?
I felt pretty good. Yeah. So I kind of take comfort in uh, repeating each movement within a posture as much the same way as I can. You know, from one practice to another, the posture may shift a little bit, but once I start doing it, I like to do it exactly the same way every time. Um, I don't think it is at a point of compulsion, but um,
Perhaps.
no, I mean, I do, like to do that. So I'll just mention one other thing, and this is, not a problem, I don't think, but when I step out, I have recently uh, made it an inch or two wider.
Hmm.
That slightly widened base feels good to me. It gives me a better base to work from.
Hmm.
And why it's been years in coming, I don't know, but
So that's a good thing.
yeah.
So I guess one of the responses I would have to that is each repetition of each movement will never be exactly the same,
Of course, yeah.
and should not be, actually, because every time you move, how the energy moves changes. So you are certainly working towards trying to get the energy to move the way you would like it to in every movement and as fully as possible. And so one of the things I have to say that as I was watching you today, and not just Bill, but it might be good for all of you to pay a little more attention to where your elbows are, because there is a little too much tendency every once in a while in several different movements, but just tending to come down or up with the elbows out instead of, and the difference often is only a tiny bit. It may not be a lot. It is more apparent in the movements where you're coming up the center and going out and pushing the elbows out is a real easy thing to do. But finding how do you keep the elbows down and do the same movement? And what happens is that allows you to relax the shoulders. And that's an issue for everybody. I mean, I have to. That's an issue for me too, and people in other classes working on other things have the same problem. The other thing too is a tendency, just in reference to that, is in coming up the center, tending to push the elbows out when you're coming down. Whereas you want to have that sense of still doing the full movement, but let the elbows drop. And that immediately increases the flow of the energy there. So just and the change may be very slight. I'm not suggesting that, I mean, you're all very close to in terms of the physical movement of what you would like to be doing. But feel what happens to you energetically when you do that. Also remember to, Bill Nagel, just because you have had one posture where you lost kind of circularity of the total movement, and that was in 5. You had a tendency to get up somewhere in this area and then go straight out. So you have to find when, you're right, you have to find when do you get the energy into the etheric body above your head, but then the movement has a roundness to it, a sphericalness to it. So don't lose that sphericalness, because that affects also affects the energy and what's happening, not only in your body but in the energy bodies outside and inside.
Yep, I recognize that. I flatten the top.
Yep. So, did you have a particular posture or movement where you have a question?
No, not really. I mean, 7
Okay.
will, probably be to some degree problematic for a while yet, until it becomes smoother. But um, I've been trying to think about all the way back to swings and rotating the body around the spine,
Mm-hmm.
as a means of staying with it in 7. So
Okay. Well, let me just ask you, what do you think, not just Bill, but all three of you, what's the purpose of 7?
well, I know it's to move energy because the whole idea is to move energy. Um, I, I can focus on the energy almost as almost as if in cloud hands, coming up one side and out, down and up the other side and out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's the energy flow that I can
Well,
identify in 7. I just don't
well,
know.
I have to answer the door. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Oh, shucks. It was such a
come on
good
in.
idea.
Uh,
probably his electrician.
Yeah, right. Right.
Oh, I'm in the middle of class, so. Also, you took my soap dish and I have yours from the shower. Uh-huh. Well, what is that whole soap dish? I thought you just exchanged goodbyes. Okay. Also, did you get a measurement on the depth of the closet? Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Sorry about that. I have too many people coming, and I'm the only one here at the moment. And
Just the tail end of that is the head, and I think my movement of the head is getting more smooth. Um, and I understand about crane's neck and keeping it open, but I'm not sure how it's related to energy movement at all. Yeah. So, I mean, of all the postures, that's the one that baffles me.
well, one thing I would say, or a couple of things I will say, um, the energetic concept in here is that the crown of the head is the top of the spine.
Yeah.
So you're trying to move energy um, eh, through the head and out into the etheric body and then back in and spiral down. So one of the things I would say is, because I don't know that we've really talked about this, this is really a posture which will have its greatest effect when you are able to spiral the energy, not simply move it from one point to another. Spiraling, of course, is how you are moving the energy from one point to another, and you're moving it in spirals, which is actually how the energy moves most effectively in the body. You may remember that when we talked about turning, twisting, and spiraling, which is the growth of how we rotate the energy, not just the body, but rotate the energy in the body. And in turning, obviously, it's pretty much physical. And in twisting, you begin to get a sense of its ability to turn. But in spiraling, the power increases and it moves from one point to another, going in a continuous spiral, and it spirals out and in, obviously in opposite directions. And so when you talk about moving the energy through the spine, you're not just trying to rotate the spine, because obviously the spine will rotate a little physically, but not a whole lot. But the energy can rotate and spiral through the spine very effectively. And obviously, 7 is not a posture in which we're stopping at simply moving it in a linear way from one point to another, but really beginning to to develop spiraling. And 7 is meant to actually coordinate and incorporate all the different intentions you've had in the previous postures. So it's like the final movement that puts it all together.
I, and you have said that way back to introducing seven. The the thing with seven for me is there's one thing is just thinking of having the spine, have this sort of dynamic rotation fixed at the bottom, and then every vertebrae opening, and rotating that around so every vertebrae is sort of rocking in a circular fashion relative to each other and opening all sides as you go around is the way I think about it physically, like skeleton. The things that make it difficult for the whole body is, we aren't rotating our hips. To, my pitfall there is my legs are less involved. They're more or less stuck there. And, and I know they ought to be doing something. There's a little bit of a shift of weight, um, but even uh, twisting, spiraling. Uh, you know, I'm 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 not really doing much of anything with the legs in terms of rotation or twisting or and spiraling is something I feel like I occasionally feel when the energy's good with my arms, but that's where I've maybe been in touch with it occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
But you can definitely feel energetically the twisting, and even in the legs when you're doing it in the other postures, uh, I can feel something going on. But I think that's more muscular than energetic most of the time. Although sometimes, like I said, in the arms it's that
Yeah.
way. But seven being the culmination and being from the waist down, a much more subtle energy movement um, than a lot of the other things we've done. Dragon and Tiger, the culmination is like everything, moving dramatically. But
So one of the points you're making here is that this is very different,
Yeah.
and you mustn't get stuck in feeling that you have to have a physical rotation in order to have an energetic rotation or spiraling. Where, so this is really moving significantly forward and more deeply to be able to accomplish that. But you do need to be aware that that's what you're endeavoring to do. That the movement you're making with the spine and through the midriff is going to move energy through the legs too. It doesn't just stop at the midriff. It goes all the way down, and so it is different. It does take time to open up and feel things a little more fully down there, as it has at every stage. The legs have been an issue for all of us from the beginning. We don't feel that immediately as well or as easily as we do in the arms. But the it's a discovery in seven that this much smaller movement can still powerfully move energy throughout the entire body and out into the not only the etheric body, but further into other energy bodies out beyond us. So this is going beyond just kind of a qigong level, certainly. This is very definitely a Neigong concept. And so one of the things is not to berate yourself in any way for what you don't feel yet, but to understand that it's going to take some time to develop that. I don't know if that. Other thoughts, Carol? I know seven has been an issue for you.
Today it felt, I guess I want to say it felt more integrated.
Good.
That I mean, I started off the whole practice with a weight here, but by seven it just and that shifted around in my body through the practice.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but by seven it felt much more of a release,
Mm,
which is kind of new.
good. Yeah.
So I still don't have a good sense of, am I moving my head enough? Am I not moving my head at all? Um, am I keeping it mostly with my body? But I didn't. But energetically it felt more of a release than it has been.
Good.
So that was nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so I think that I mean it feels like you're all doing just fine because this is we feel like it's a change rather than understanding it as an integration. But
Yeah, it is so different. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, you say it's pulling together of everything you did in the other postures. Well, it's totally different from everything we ever done in all the postures. So
right,
how is this pulling all those things together? Because
because you're
but
at
if I just let go of that concept and just feel what's going on,
yeah.
maybe I'll get there.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think the point of that is that it is different physically in terms of the movement. It is not different in terms of the energy movement. And
Okay.
we have a hard time letting go of that because we've used the physical to learn about the energy and to learn about moving it and feel it's connected. But the energy movement doesn't need any physical movement.
Yeah, I do keep thinking about that in terms of the arms and hands in seven, which aren't doing anything, remotely physically like they are in the other postures. Uh, but the energy must be moving along and through. So it doesn't make any difference if they're not.
Hmm.
The question is, you know, can can I focus on that and get the energy moving without the arms moving?
But the
There are
arms are moving.
Well, yes,
uh, they're
twisting
moving
it,
in there.
but everything seems to be boiled down in seven to,
Mm,
you know,
absolutely. Other thoughts about that or
Thing that,
questions?
yeah, I guess sort of my metronome is my breath for this going through the whole thing, and you do still have the breath in some. Um,
You don't stop breathing. No, I forbid that.
so I think that I think that's a pathway for me to have seven with the smaller physical and muscular thing in a lot of the body, uh, arms and legs in particular, uh, to link it uh, at some physical level to move into the energetic.
Yeah. And eventually you have to let go of that too. But
Okay, so we'll just let go of everything and we'll be out there.
everything except um, your mind intent
Hmm.
and eventually the connection uh, to the unconscious mind and to the heart mind. And at that point, you're not dependent upon or using any element. It's all internal. But that that um, Bruce said in one of his talks um, that may take several years. Absolutely, if ever. Um,
Uh, yeah,
because
that's
it depends how well we practice, how much we are able to practice. Um, we don't we aren't monks um, able to focus 24 hours a day on our practice. So we have to also be aware of the reality. But I'm um, trying to help us be aware of what is beyond where we are at the moment.
interesting things happen, and I've tried it a couple of times this week. Just if I'm just sitting somewhere or maybe riding as a passenger in the car or something and just want to still my mind, I just envision doing, you know, a posture or something without
Hmm.
any physical movement, not even being close to in the
Hmm.
physical position, but maybe creating my breath and doing it. And things happen. it's it's
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. You can feel that without any physical movement at all. So that that's a good thing. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Well, I think I think we're at the end of our time here.
All
Um,
right.
it,
You need to get to your tradesman.
no, they're not coming yet. That was our neighbor. I mean, our tenant actually.
Oh,
This is the first class of a new session.
Okay.
I'll throw out. Um, But other than that, thank you very much. A pleasure talking to you today and observing your progress.
Yeah. Thank
Have
you.
a good week.
Good luck with caring for Jane, and good luck, Carol, with John and
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Jane's time as well.
Yeah.
And we send our best to Joanne and Rick.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye. Hello.
You done?
Yeah, I didn't expect to be, but I am.
Okay.
How are you?
Fine.
You fine?
I'm tired, but I'm fine.
Okay.
The weather's just perfect, so the roads were fine, and Zach and I had a little extra time to discuss things, and it was wonderful.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I love him so much.
I spoke for a moment to
Well, Doug was here.
Doug. Yeah.
He spread more ice milk, I don't know why, and then took the rest over there.
All of it?
Well, it was just a little bit left.
Oh,
But we didn't really need it spread here because... But anyway, that's your soap dish, honey. He doesn't even have something like that.
that's what he said, yeah.
And I gave him a shampoo bottle and he brought back the tape gun here.
Oh, good.
And the depth to get the washer dryer in is 30 inches, so it's plenty big.
Good.
So I told him I'd go ahead and order that today.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Howard is coming. Well, excuse me, just hang on a second.
Yeah, I'm not interrupting.
No, I didn't think you were.